All right, so this is 8.1 number 1, using the law of sines to solve the triangle. So first I want to just remind you from the notes what the law of sines is. So we have side A over sine of angle A. That's equal to side B over sine of angle B, which is equal to side C over sine of angle C. So all of these. Now in this triangle that we're given, I'm trying to draw a little, it might not be exact, but it'll be close enough. All right, so we're given A, and this angle is 34.2 degrees. We're given this side is 31. You can tell because it doesn't have a degree. So this is this side. So that's side AC. And then angle B, and this side is 28. So remember, the side is opposite the angle. So over here, this would be side B. Across from A, this would be side A. And across from C, this would be side C. So I don't know side C, I don't know angle C. I can't solve for C yet. But what I can do is I can solve for angle B, because I have angle A and side A. So I got those two pieces. I have side B, but I don't have angle B. So this is the first one I'm going to solve. So side A is 28 over sine of angle A, which is going to be sine of 34.2. This is going to be equal to side B, which is 31, over sine of B, which we do not know. Okay. From this point, we're going to cross multiply, and then we'll divide to get sine B by itself. So if I cross multiply these two, I will get 28 times sine of angle B. That will be equal to 31 times sine of 34.2. Okay, and then to get sine B by itself, I have to divide by 28. So then I'll have sine of angle B equals 31 times sine of 34.2 divided by 28. Now, this is going to give us the sine of angle B. It's good to see what that is, but we really want to know what angle B is. I don't want to know the sine of angle B. I want to know what angle B is. But let me show one thing that the book kind of mentions. Doesn't do a great job of, I think, explaining it. But so I'm going to type this into my calculator. I'm going to do alpha window, alpha y equal, and I'm going to do option number 1 to make a fraction. Type in 31 sine of 34.2, and then go to the bottom, and we're going to divide that by 28. Now notice we get 0.622. So the fact that I get something less than 1 is good. So why is that important? Well, if you think about the unit circle, which I'm going to pull up here, okay, the unit circle is called the unit circle is because it has a radius of 1. So from the center to any point, the distance from the center to a point is 1. So you can see that on the axes, and also that works here. So I'm mentioning that because when we do the trig functions, all of these sine or cosine of any one of these angles should be some value that's less than 1. And there's 2 of them. So like if I was to look at sine of 30, the sine is the y value, so x, y, there's 1/2 right there. There's also another one right across right here that's equal to 1/2. Okay, the relationship between these two angles is there's 180 degrees if you subtract. So if you take 180 and you subtract the angle here, you get the angle here, the one that's equal to it, 150. Okay, they're supplementary angles. They're always going to add up to be 180. Those two, sine of 30 and sine of 150, both give you 1/2. So when I see that happen here, when I plug in and I get the sine of something that's less than 1, I know there's going to be two angles. So that's going to be this ambiguous case where we're probably going to have two angles that fit. So I'm going to have to be solving case B. All right, so now that I have that number, what I want to do to find the measure of angle B is I want to do the inverse sine. So I want to get this sine off of here so B is by itself. So doing inverse sine will leave us with B, and I'm going to call this B1, is equal to, it's going to be inverse sine. So it'll be sine with this little -1 up here, that's inverse sine. And I'm going to plug in all of this. 31 sine 34.2 over 28. So I've already plugged that into the calculator. All I need to do is recall inverse sine, and I'm going to tell it to pull this number. So if I do second and then the negative sign for answer, ANS, it is saying I'm going to put this last answer that you got in here. Okay, so let me check my mode because that didn't give me a degree. I'm in degree mode, so let me try that again. Oh, I did regular sine, that's why. Second, enter. I need to do inverse sine. Okay, so let me let that go again. I'm going to do second sine to get the inverse sine, and then second answer. There we go. So we get a measure of 38, and let's see, we want to round degree measures to the nearest tenth, so 1 decimal place, okay? So if I round this to 1 decimal place, this is 38.5. Okay, so we're going to call B1 38.5. Okay, so just like I was showing you, there's two possible answers. So I'm going to find B2 right now. The second possible number for B is going to be 180 minus this angle right here. So 180 minus 38.5. Okay. And that will give us 141.5. So I got two possible answers. I'm going to have two possible triangles I got to solve. Once I go through here, this is probably the hardest of the work. You find the first angle, and then you get these two. Now we can find angle C with great ease because C, again, remember, a triangle total degrees has to add up to be 180. So if I do 180 and I subtract the 34.2 that we were given for angle A, and I subtract the measure of angle B, which I just found, minus 38.5, that will give me angle C. So let's do that. 180 minus 34.2 minus 38.5. That gives us 107.3. So C is 107.3 degrees. That's angle C. So the last measure that we need, and I'll just call this C1, the last measure that we need is side C. Side C, we'll use the law of sines to find that in just a moment. I'm going to go ahead and find the angle C for the second case. So C2 is going to be 180 minus the 34.2. So same angle A, 34.2 minus the 141.5. So I'm going to do 180 minus 34.2 minus 141.5. 41.5. And it gives us a 4.3 angle. So really, really small angle. So 2 is going to be 4.3 degrees. Okay, so we have all of our angles found. Now I just need to find side C for both cases. So I'm going to go ahead and use the given information, so side A and angle A, and then I'll find side C with both of those. So we have 28 over sine of 34.2, and then side C, which we're looking for, divided by sine of angle C, which is going to be sine of 107.3. All right, so I will just multiply this guy up and over, and I'll have 28 sine of 107.3 divided by sine 34.2, and that's going to give me the measure of C1, the first possible answer. So we'll do 28 times sine 107.3, and then sine 34.2 gives us a side length. And what do we want to round side measures to the nearest integer? So rounding to the nearest integer, that will give us about 48. All right, so got my value for C1. All right, I'm going to do the same thing for C2. So 28 for side A over sine A, 34.2. equals, call it C2 over sine of C2, which is going to be 4.3. And same thing, we're going to multiply this across. So we'll get 28 times sine of 4.3 divided by sine 34.2. Okay. So I'm just going to recall this last answer. I'm going to do second enter. Enter will bring up the last. So everything is the same except for the argument. So I'm going to go up here and change the argument. I'm going to type 4.3, and then just hit delete on the other two. And we get roughly 4 when we round to the nearest integer. So that side is going to be roughly 4 for C2. Okay, so now that we have all of our missing values, we put them in. So answer choice B, there's two possibilities. So B1 was 38.5 and B2 was 141.5. The first C value we got was 107.3, and the second C value we got was 4.3. All right, the first measurement of C we got was 48, and the second one was 4.